Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. With the release of Dynamic 365 Business Central 2022 Release Wave 2, there are many new features has been released from October the 1st, 2022. And so in this video, I would like to have an overview and briefly review and demonstrate those key features reviewed in this 2022 Release Wave 2. So since we are just on October the 2nd, so my Business Central SaaS tenant hasn't got the 2022 Release Wave 2 rolled out yet. So I will have my Docker container. I will use my Docker container, which has the Business Central version 21 for the preview. And then, so I will compare what is on this version with my existing Business Central SaaS tenant, which is still on the version 20.5. So then we can understand better what are the new features, what are the differences compared with the previous version. Okay, so we'll just quickly have an overview of this list for the Dynamic 365 2022 Release Wave 2 new features. I will not go through each feature. I will just pick some features I think which is interesting and talk through. Okay, so the first one I would like to talk about is the financial reporting. So this is a renaming change actually, because if you are new to Dynamics Nav or Dynamics 365 Business Central, and in Dynamics Nav or Business Central, what we call account schedule is actually for most finance and accounting people, they consider it as a financial reports. So just to avoid confusion, because if you are new user to Nav or Business Central, when we talk about account schedule, you may not know what it's about. So actually, Microsoft just renamed account schedule to financial report in this version. So I'm in the version, this is my Docker container for Business Central version 21, and you could see if I search financial reports, and what this comes out is what we have in the previous version, which is called account schedule. So this is my Business Central version 2021. I'm just gonna switch to this Business Central. You can see this is the Business Central version 20.5. If in the Business Central version 20.5, I search account schedule, then those are the reports comes out. So you can see when I click on account schedule, and that's the same. So Microsoft, so when I switch to Business Central version 21, you could see these are what previously called account schedule. And in the previous version, so for the account schedule, it has the column layout. And so here it just renamed it, just called the column definition. Okay, so you can see here we call it in the old account schedule, we call it column layout, but now it's called column definition. So, and also it added the row definition. You can see here, so it has both the column definition and the row definition now. Okay, and so that's why when you go to this financial reports in this version, and also this has been renamed as well, because previously if you go to account schedule, then you just added that you have to click on overview, right? So that overview, so in the previous version, what is called overview is what you have right now, just called financial report. That's also a renaming thing. So it just between different versions, just to avoid confusion for the finance accounting people, Microsoft renamed the whole thing for account schedule to financial reports. It's not a functionality change, it's just a renaming to be more user-friendly if you're like working in the finance area. And another thing I want to talk about is this feature is also useful because now you can see no matter it's an open document lines or it's posted document lines, then you can search them. So for example, previously you created lots of sales orders, right? And you may have sales order, sales code, sales invoice, sales credit memo, all different sales documents. But sometimes you need to analyze the line, right? Same for the posted. sales or purchase document, right? So sometimes you need to analyze those lines instead of the header. But previously, you have to go to the line and then you have to pop up the window for the line, right? And then if you want to see the line, you have to pop up the windows and probably you remove some filters, then you can see all the lines. Or you have to go to the fact box to go to the sales lines or purchase lines. But now in this version 21, so instead of like have so many clicks to get what you need for analysis, then Microsoft just added them so you can search sales lines. So then you should be able to click on the sales lines and it just bring you to all the sales line table directly. And if you want to do an analysis, because the sales lines, all the sales documents are sharing the same sales line table. So including the sales code, sales order, sales invoice, sales credit memo, sales return order. So all those are sharing the same sales lines table. If you want to do some analysis and you can export to editing Excel, then you can get to this table directly. Same for the purchase lines and even for the posted document. For the posted sales shipment and posted sales invoice, then it will be sales shipment line and sales invoice line. So if you just search them, then so here sales shipment lines, it doesn't have posted sales shipment lines, okay? So then you can just it just bring you directly to the posted sales shipment lines. And you want to search the sales invoice lines table, which is the posted sales invoice lines, and you can just open that page. So previously you cannot get to those pages directly. There's many clicks, then you have different filters. You have to clear all the filters in order for you to do it. Now it's searchable for both the sales document and the purchase document, for both the open documents and the posted documents. So I think this is a great feature. And also for the planning worksheet. For the planning worksheet, if you are a manufacturing company and you are using the planning worksheet for the MRP MPS planning, then if we go to the planning worksheet, so this is in Business Central version 21. So I already have some lines calculated through the regenerative plan. And so in the previous version, if I go to my Business Central, this is on the cloud, this is my Business Central SaaS. It hasn't rolled out to this Business Central 21 yet. So this is the 20.5 version. So if I go to the planning worksheet in this previous version, then you can see all the columns in this table is not sortable. So you cannot sort them, okay? So then, when you generate the plan, usually you have, if you are a big company, you have hundreds of lines, right? So sometimes you want to see the structure, which items are on the level 0. Level 0 is the low-level code 0 is the finished good item. It's on the top, which is MPS. It's driving its independent demand, driving by the sales order. So directly if this item is on the sales line. So then you can see the level. So this is the finished good, and then this is level 1 and level 2, right? So when the planning worksheet runs to calculate the planning lines, and it's actually going through this direction from the low level code 0 to 1 to 3 and go on, right? So but in this planning worksheet, none of these columns is sortable. But in this newer version, this release with 2, then you could see this planning worksheet. If I want to sort by the MPS order, so then you see I can just click on that header, then I can sort them. I can even sort by any of these columns are sortable now, right? And I can sort by the low level code as well. So it's easily for you to identify like the items with structure. Is it on the top level or is it at the bottom level? It's easier for you to identify that structure, and you can sort according to what you require, right? If you want to see the production order on the top and you want to see the purchase orders on the top, previously you can only filter. You have to add a filter in that previous version if you want to see for a specific replenishment system, which is by purchase or production order, then because you cannot sort them, you have to filter them. Yeah, so this is just a more convenient and make this view to be more organizable according to what you want. So that's a great feature. And this Microsoft also make the variant code required in this version. So for an item, if in your item list you have some item with the variant setup, then when you enter a document for it previously, the variant number, variant code is not mandatory. But now, let's see in this. So let's just find this t-shirt to see if I have any variant setup here on this item. So let's go to the related item, and it's not there. Under actions item variants, okay? And I do have a bunch of variants for this item, this t-shirt, okay? So then if I enter a sales document for it previously, in the previous version, it doesn't, the variant code is not mandatory, okay? If you enter a item journal, the variant code is not mandatory, then it will cause problem or mistakes, like because you are supposed to enter the variant code when you enter, for example, when you're adjusting the inventory and you didn't, then you have to reverse it, and then you have to do it again, right? So just to avoid those kind of mistakes, like right now, if I, in this version, if this is the newer version, so if I don't enter, let me see my location. Okay, if this item is the one with the variant, but if I don't enter a variant code when I enter the journal line to adjust in the inventory, then it will, when I post it, it will error out. Let's take a look. Oh, it doesn't seem, no. So aligned, so let's just take a further look of this feature. So it's supposed to prevent you, because they made those field, yeah, okay. So there is some additional setup. I didn't do it. That's why it didn't give me an error. So because that item, so there's the setup on the inventory setup associated to this. You have to turn that on in order to throw an error. So it's called variant mandatory if it exists, right? So because I didn't turn this on, so that's why it didn't give me an error. It's not by default turned on. So Microsoft added this feature, but by default is switched off. You have to turn this on. So if I turn this on, then for all the items, it will apply to all the items. But on the individual item card, it also have this switch, okay? So you see the switch called variant mandatory if exists, because in the global setting inventory setup, I selected that setting as on, as yes. So then the default becomes to yes. And I can override that global setting in the inventory setup on the item card. I can say no, okay? But in this case, I want to use this item to test it, so I don't want to say no. So I'm just gonna create another item journal for this item. So now this time it's gonna throw me an error because I turned that on. So let's just do this again. For this item, then main location, I'm gonna just adjust in 10. I didn't fill out the variant code, but this item has the variant. Now if I post this, then you see, it just gave me an error. So there is some setup you have to do. It's not by default turned on. If you didn't turn it on, then it will not throw that error. So now I need to enter the variant code in order to post this positive adjustment, okay? So because it's not visible right now, I'm just gonna add this field, the variant code. Okay, so let's drag and drop the variant code here. And I'm just gonna add whatever, then post this. Now you see it posted successfully. Okay, so there's setup required for this, for you to use this feature if you want to avoid those mistakes without entering the variant code, but you do have the variant setup on the item. So that's a nice feature. And then let's go back and take a look here. So another thing I want to talk is this simpler Shopify connection. Okay, so I will say, because Microsoft released Shopify connector on May the 27th, but that connector actually I don't think any customer can use it as of today. Okay, the problem is like when you retrieve, so in my in this version, Business Central SaaS version is still 20.5, so I have this set up. But because my Docker container is kind of it's in Azure, but it's kind of on premise. It's not on the public cloud. So then when you set up this connection, this has access key has to be turned on, but it cannot be turned on. So if I do this in my Docker container, there are some issues. So I cannot really show you that part because that this cannot be turned on. And then if I just say request access, then it throws an error. But if you are in the Business Central SaaS, then it's automated. It's automatically when you connect it, this is Business Central SaaS. So when you just say request access, it will automatically authenticate and turn this has access key on. So if you are on premise, there are some additional setup you have to do. So what I want to say is like when Microsoft released this Shopify connector on May the 27th, it's not a completed product yet. There are so many problems. So originally, if you're going to synchronize your Shopify orders, you could see I have some gaps of those orders. The reason like I have the gaps is like if your order on Shopify has already been paid and fulfilled, which means it's complete. That order is complete. There's nothing need to be done from your Business Central. If that's the case, those orders will not be retrieved at all. And also, if you retrieve these orders, so even you have the auto create customer, auto create sales order turned on, it's not automated. You still have to manually click on those buttons at that time. And also, after you posted the order in your Business Central, then the transaction status, like the order status, does not get sent back to Shopify. The Shopify order status still does not get updated. So there are so many issues, and it's not a finished product. None of the clients can use this product, even it's released. And so in this 2022 Wave 2 release, there are some improvement. Specifically, but I don't think this has been changed. If your order has been paid and fulfilled, you will still not able to download those orders. That is not changed. But for some Shopify customers, they use the Shopify fulfillment network to fulfill the orders, and then they only want the orders to be retrieved to Business Central and automatically posted, like post the shipment, post the invoice, so the financial information and the inventory can be updated. But in that case, those orders cannot be retrieved at all because they're already paid and fulfilled by Shopify. They are paid by the clients when they place the order, and then it's fulfilled by the Shopify fulfillment network outside of Business Central. So if they cannot be retrieved, then this Shopify connector is not useful for those kind of customers, right? And also because at that time, the Microsoft doesn't have this the synchronized shipment. It doesn't have that feature. Once you post the sales shipment in Business Central, that status does not get sent back to Shopify. So then that's why I'm saying at that time it's not useful. But now Microsoft, the other issue for the paid and fulfilled orders still cannot be retrieved, but Microsoft added the synchronization for the shipment. So this is my 20.5. This is 20.5 version. But if you go back to my Docker container for Business Central 21, this Wave 2 release, then you will see, go to the synchronization. You could see Microsoft added sync shipments. This one has been added. So which means after you post the sales shipment, and then you have to manually click on this button, and then the status will be updated on Shopify. So that will be useful. I will say with this feature be added, and at least some customers can use it, right? If they want to use Business Central to fulfill the Shopify orders and send the information back to Shopify, then they will be able to use it. And also there's some UI interface change. Microsoft changed. Previously, there's an inventory tab on this Shopify shop cart, and then they combined it with the item synchronization tab and renamed the item synchronization tab to the item product synchronization. And so they added some features for sync image. There's some setup change as well. So those are just a minor UI change. I don't think it's really important, but from the functional side, I think this synchronize the shipments, which is important. This has been added. And also they added synchronized payouts from here. So synchronized product images, let's take a look. That is synchronized product images, we have it in the previous version, but they added synchronized payouts, they have it in the previous version. So they added the synchronized shipments and synchronized orders to the menu. So you can see here, it doesn't have the synchronized orders. So then previously you can synchronize orders, but you have to go to the orders. So they have so you have to go to orders in order to synchronize it. So what you can do here is like you have to click on this button, but they added to the Shopify shop cart. And also previously this Shopify shop cart, this code is not mandatory, okay? And so Microsoft now made this code to be mandatory to avoid, like after you create this Shopify shop cart, then you forget to enter the code, then you will not be able to connect. Okay, so the really big change I think is that synchronized shipment. That's important. And let's go back to this list track. So another thing I want to talk about is the use multiple remit to addresses for vendors. Well, I think this is similar, like when you create sales orders, then you can have multiple ship to. You can ship to different locations as well. So because on the customer card, you have the ship to address table, and you can create a different ship to for the same customer. So this remit to is kind of on the purchasing side for the vendor, and then you can have the different remit to addresses. So then you can send your invoice to different remit to addresses. So similar, but I don't want to demonstrate it. If you want to see it, then you can just play around with it. So it just I found this is a similarity for the ship to addresses table, and they're doing it on the purchasing side. And for the governance and the administration, so what I think Microsoft, what they did is like in your previous administration admin center, previously, then they give you you can set up the notification recipients. You can set up multiple notification recipients. So if there's any important information Microsoft want to let you know, like there's an upgrade coming for your Business Central tenant, then they will send you email notifications. So now they moved it to the Microsoft 365 Message Center, and there's a server health dashboard there. Then you can see if there's any important information there. So they said this is a better communication. They just put it under better communication and get more visibility into outages. So if there's any outage when you log into our Business Central, then you will see a fail message. And then you will see if you log into your administration center, then you will see the details for the outage. So that's what they mentioned for the visibility into outages. And for the Microsoft Power Platform, I think there's a good feature for it is that you can switch Power Automate features on and off. So they added almost most of the pages. They added that Power Automate button. You can see it. The power. So no matter where you are in Business Central, now you can see there's a Automate tab added, and throughout the any pages in business, most of the pages in Business Central has this Automate added. But for some people, if they don't want to see it, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes you click on something, but you didn't pay attention to, then you just click on the Automate, because this Automate is mostly everywhere on almost all the pages. If you don't want it, so then you can just go to the permission sets, and there's a permission related to this Automate. So this called Automate execution. So this permission is a system permission set. So it is a law action Automate. If you don't want this permission, you can just set everything to be no, right? Set this execute to be no, and I'll remove this permission from the user. This is the Power Automate feature is something Microsoft is focused on improving for this release, because they added a media image support, and also for the document attachments. So then no matter for Power Apps and the Power Automate flow, there's more scenarios, like you can create an integrated apps to Business Central or integrated flow to Business Central. For example, your inventory people want to take a picture for the inventory, and then they can attach the photo for the inventory items, and then send it with warehouse documents. That could be a scenario you can use Power Apps for. And for the Power Automate flow, like you can, if you receive an email from your client and they're asking for the sales codes for some items, and then you can create an automated Power Automate flow to automatically create a sales order or sales code when you receive that email for the sales code. And then when you send the sales order or sales code, then there's the order confirmation can be attached as a PDF when you send it back to the client. So you can create those kind of flow with Power Apps and Power Automate because of this attachment feature has been added. And for the media image support, it's like if you are using Power App, or if you are using the Power Automate flow, or you are using the Azure Logic app, then you can modify the media or image attached to the entity, like the record. So you have that capability now. It can be used for many different scenarios because that capability. And for the onboarding experience, so what I found Microsoft did an improvement is like in the extension management. So previously, if you after you install the app, and then this app may have some setup wizard, then you have to go through after app is installed. So previously you have to go to assisted setup and then find for the setup page of that extension you installed. Then you can go from there to or you have to search for the setup page of the extension you installed in order to do it. So but just for you to be easier to locate that setup page, instead of you have to search or you have to go to the assisted setup, Microsoft added this function. So what you can do, you can go to, let's say, but this is a Microsoft app, Ceridian Payroll. But let's say if this is a third-party extension, you download it from the app stores, then you install it. on your Business Central tenant, and then you want to go through the setup of that extension, you can just click on the three dots and then go to setup. If that app has a setup page, then it will give you the, and then you have to go through this wizard, enter all those information to complete the setup. So that's just an example. You could see then you have this setup page integrated here directly. You don't need to search for that setup page or go to assisted setup to complete it. Okay, so that's a good feature, just more user-friendly. And also, so I've accessed setup page for, this is what I talked about, and install and set up new apps. So this to most consultants, this is a big change, because previously when you install, when you deploy an extension to the Business Central production, Business Central SaaS production, then you have to go to manage, then you will see there's a deployment status, right? So after, from the app source, after you select the free trial and install it, and then you do not need to wait until the installation to be finished. And you just need, after you confirm the installation, then you have to go to your deployment status. So let's go to this version. This is the previous version. You can still see that. So in this version, you can still see that deployment status. And so you have to go to the deployment status and to check if the deployment completed or not. So you have to check that, okay? Check those status. And for this version, it doesn't have that deployment status anymore. And what happened is, like, when you install an extension from the app source, then it will ask you, so I don't have the screenshots because this is a, even it's on the cloud, but this is a on-premise Azure server. It's an on-premise Business Central. It's not connected to the SaaS. So I cannot show you that part. So I have to show you some screenshot from here, which will give you some confirmation pages when you install the apps. Okay, so here, easy install and set up apps. So it tells you when you install it, then you will see this, your app is installing, do you want to wait while it's complete? Then it has a yes or no, right? So you can select to wait, and you can select you don't want to wait. If you don't want to wait, then you have to go to the installation status. It's not called deployment status anymore. You have to go to installation status to check it. If you want to wait, then you see that it just gives you those pop-up screens, your app installed, do you want to set it up now? It just gives you, if you wait until the end, then it will just go through the setup directly. After it's installed, it will go to the setup directly, ask you if you want to set it up now, and then it will, if you select yes, it will point you to the setup page. Yeah, so this is the current, and so you will not see that deployment status anymore. Instead, you will see installation status. So it provides you the option to wait or not wait during the installation. And so that's for the onboarding experience. And for the productivity with Microsoft 365, and there's the integration with OneDrive. For the integration with the OneDrive, so there's a setup you have to go through. It's called a OneDrive setup. So you can set up this to integrate with your OneDrive. So then when you share, you can share a document from your Business Central, then it will be attached it will be shared to the recipient, and then the file will be saved to your OneDrive. So you have to go through this OneDrive setup wizard in order to set it up. And as I said, because I'm using a Docker container, even the Docker image is on my local computer, but actually it's an Azure VM, and Business Central is installed as an on-premise from that Azure VM. So when I go through this wizard, it will ask me for OneDrive URL. But if you are using Business Central SaaS, then it will be, because it's going to be using the same login account as what you logged in. and it's integrated already. You don't need to enter the OneDrive URL. So, but because I'm on premise, then I have to enter the URL, and then you can test the connection. So I will not go through that process, but it's just some setup you have to do if you want to integrate with your OneDrive. And then after you did that, when you send out a document, and then when you select share and share through OneDrive, then it will go through that. You can share the document from Business Central through OneDrive to the recipient. And if you share that document before, then it will ask you if you want to use that existing copy on OneDrive instead of send it again, instead of like using a new copy to send. So so this is the Teams, but I want to because I also don't have that screenshot. I just use this. So this is the screen. You could see when you share the document from Business Central, then it you can share the link, and then it will ask you if that file already generated in OneDrive previously, then it will ask you if you want to use that existing one or if you want to replace it. So that's the integration with OneDrive when you share a file from Business Central. Share to Teams. So this is so minor because even in the previous release in 2022 Wave 1, and you can share a link. And when you share to Teams, then you will see a preview card for that. But this is just tell you when you share it from Business Central, you already see that preview card before you send it to Teams. And for the reporting, there are some changes added. So first, I think which is worth to mention is like so that if I'm going to a report like item statistics report, right? Item sales statistics, and so because in 2022 Wave 1 release, the Microsoft introduced the Excel layout. So in this Wave 2 release, then on the report request page, you can select the report layout you want to send. So if I have multiple layout here, I can select which one I want to use when I run this report. When I send this report, print to PDF, send it to the printer. So that's a nice feature because you have more flexibility. You can use different format of the report when you print it. And so another thing, the reporting send reports from the request page. I didn't find that button yet. Probably it's not available. You can see the public preview is October. It's not available to me yet. So it just tell you on the same request request page, then you could see there's a send to inbox button. So what it does is like right now in this version it doesn't have it, but if we use the item sales statistics as example, what I think that feature will be, it will have a new button added here that's send to inbox. So what it does is like when you go to your role center, my notifications, then you should be able to see it. You don't need to report inbox here, okay? Report inbox. So you don't need to wait until the report is generated. You can multitask and do something else, and the report will be generated in the background and sent to your report inbox. Then you can see it there, okay? And so user experience, many like this one, autosave as you work. So this feature already exists in the previous release because, for example, when you work on a sales order and then you did some update, then you could see that this button saved, right? I think this feature already exists in the previous release, but it just Microsoft said in this version, in the previous version, it just this feature only exists in the Outlook add-in. It does not apply to the web client and all the other client, the modern client. Only in this Wave 2 release, then it's applied to other clients. I don't know if that's true or not, but even previously in my web client, in the previous version in my web client, I already see this. And I remember this feature was released a few releases ago. So it's not new to me. And yeah, but I think right now I just tell you it's applied to all the clients. No matter it's a tablet client, mobile client, desktop client, all the clients, all located in, even the teams, embedded teams. So if you embedded Business Central into our teams, then in those experience, then this saved is auto save is also applied to those embedded apps, Business Central apps. Okay, and this feature switch companies across environments. This is a fun feature. I like that. So what it does is like no matter where you are in your Business Central, you can just press Control O. So this button will bring in you the available companies. In this Docker container, I only have one environment. I do not have multiple environment. But if you are on Business Central SaaS, you can have one production environment. You can have up to 3 Business Central SaaS sandbox environment. And also you can pay extra, then you can have up to 3 production environments as well, right? If you have done that, you have multiple environments, and then in each environment, then you can have multiple companies. Then for your finance people to manage the accounting finance, sometimes they have to switch the company to check the financial data. And I think this is very convenient because when you press the shortcut key on your keypad, Control O, then Control and O, then this window will come out. Then you can select the company you want to connect to. So, and also you can add, so previously this company badge, this feature already exists, but now you can give it a name up to 6 characters name, and then you can select different color for it. So I put a different color for these 2 companies and to differentiate them. Then you can see for these, it can hold up to 6 characters for the name on the badge, on the company badge. Okay, and then when you switch the company, let's say currently I work on the Kronos company. When I want to switch to my company, this is my corporation, I want to switch to that company, I can select this drop down beside the switch, and I can say open in new tab, or open in new tab and go to same list. What it does is like open in new tab will open another tab in your browser, but it will go back to the row center. Okay, let's try that. So it will go back to our row center. And then, but because you are comparing the data between the different environment, you are comparing the same thing. Let's say I want to check my, usually I want to check my chart of account, those kind of things, but I'm on the sales order, right? So I want to see the sales orders in the other company. I can go to open in new tab and go to same list. It will open, I'm in Kronos company, then it will open my company and open the sales orders in my company. Let's take a look. So when I do that, you see this icon, this company badge changed to my company, and this is the sales orders in my company. There's no sales orders in this company yet, right? So that's a quick switch. You can quickly switch between different environments, between different companies. So this feature is really convenient if you have multiple environments, multiple companies under each environment. Okay, and the modern action bar. So for this one, for this modern action bar, I think it's like it just also for convenience, and Microsoft added. So they previously, for example, I'm on the customer card. I'm just gonna go to a customer card, and so previously they will have a navigate tab, but now they combined whatever under the navigate tab with the entity. So for example, you are on the customer card, then the entity will be the customer. If you are on the sales orders, then the entity will be the order. So they combined whatever under the navigate tab to they removed that navigate tab and combined whatever under navigate tab to the entity card. So to the entity tab. and put them under. So that's what they did. And also there are some functions. For example, if I go to, they renamed this. So previously this first tab is called process, and now it's called home. And also if we go to the actions, let's see. So so like this, we call it, this kind of button is called a split button. So they added many split button, kind of split button like this. What split button is like it combined the button with the menu, okay? And just for your convenience, you for example, if you go to post a sales invoice, and for the posted sales invoice, then you should have the correct, you have those buttons correct, and cancel, create a corrective credit memo. You have this. This is also called split button. And most of time you will do the correct, but sometimes you will do the cancel, right? So they just put it under the correct button, and then put the other menus under that button as well. So this is called split button. So that's a feature they added. And previously, when you move the tabs then on a card, then there's some so if you want to personalize it, then there are some limitations. You may not be able to move everything like what you want. But now you can, if I want to move ship to address, if that's the one I use a lot, if I want to move anything like under functions, if I want to move this to the home, then I can do it. There's no limitation for how you can move it. Okay, so you can see the templates has been added to my home. So it's just more user friendly. And so that's what Microsoft called modern action bar. And so also there's some more features for the modern action bar. It's like so they reduce some more clicks. For example, previously, if you go to a sales orders, if you go to a sales order and go to the sales order line, and by default, if you open that in the previous version, then here on the sales order line, this subpage, this will say more options. Then you have to click on more options in order to see this menu. So that, let me open the Business Central says this is a previous, oh sorry, that's not. So this one is the previous version. So if you go to this version, then you go to the sales order and go to the sales order line, then you will see that. So once you just enter to the sales order line, then you see the more options. Then you need to have more click in order, you see here, then you have to click on this in order to see this menu. So this is just like they already expanded that for you. You don't need to have so many clicks. So they did some improvement on the user interface. And but that feature, so they put it under the feature management. So those additional options, they put it under feature management and called modern action bar, okay? So if you want to try some additional features which has those improvements, you can click on try it out. Then those features will be available to you. But you can see in my version, I already have it available, like even I didn't say try it out. So there could be some other improvement, but because this is my on-premise environment, so when I click on this, it will not do anything for now. If you are on the Business Central SaaS environment, then it should do something. But so it's just some UI improvement. If you want to see more features of that modern action bars, then you can enable try it out in the feature management. And also let's go back to this list. There's a legacy list view will be hidden. So what it does, like even in the previous version, let's say in this version, this is the version 20.5, then many versions ago, I think it's in the year 2019, Microsoft already made it available like on a list page, then you can save the view, okay? So if I make the filter come up, then I can click on the three dots and save as if I have some filters applied to this page, and I can save the view. Okay. For example, let me see, balance greater than, let's just add balance. Okay. Add filter, say balance greater than 0. Okay. So you see my view change. Then I can save this view, and I can save as, or say balance greater than 0. Okay, so I can save that view. I'm gonna delete this one. This is not used, but let's just leave it for now. So you can see then after you did that, every time then you can just filter by that custom view. So that's a custom list view, right? You did by yourself. So that feature was available many versions ago, and but so that's called the modern view. And if you have any developers before this feature came out, if you have any developer who did any custom list view and then pinned to your row center as a queue, right? And so then you can click on that button, that queue, and bring you there. That's called the legacy list view. So those legacy list view your developer did right now is coexist with the modern list view, but then Microsoft only will support it until the 2023 release wave 2. So there's another year. Okay, and there's a feature you can, in the feature management, if you don't want to see, so you can stop the support for those view earlier if you want to do that. But I don't know who will want to do that if you ever did that, have the developer customize for you. So then you could see in the feature management, there's a legacy list views are hidden. So if you even right now, if you want to turn off those legacy list view the developer did for you, then you can just turn on all users, turn on this feature. Then those view will be hidden. Okay. So it's just like Microsoft will not support it anymore, and you can just turn it off earlier if you want. So yeah, so we just have an overview of all these features, and just showed you some features like I thought is interesting and useful. And so mostly for this release, I just feel like there's not many big functionality changes. It's just Microsoft just focus on the user interface to make it more user friendly. Made some improvements on that area, and I think a big change is like the support for the Power Platform, because you could see Power Automate is everywhere on the pages in Business Central now, and I think they're trying to make the integration between Power Apps, Power Automate flow, and the Business Central more seamlessly and fluently. So then they can, if there's anything like cannot, like previously you have to do through development, and now you can use the Power Apps or Power Automate flow to do it for you, because those Power Automate and Power Apps will require less development skills, like but you may still need some basic understanding of the scripts and code, but it just less intensive regarding the programming side. So Microsoft trying to improve that. I could see in this release they did some improvement. I think lots of improvement on this area, but I have to test it out to see how easily Power Apps and Power Automate can work with Business Central, because the connector for Power Automate to connect with Business Central, the pre-built connectors are really limited. You still need some development in order to create an API page to expose the Business Central web service to your Power Apps as an API for Power Apps to connect to. So yeah, I would like to try that out, but in general, I think Microsoft made many user interface improvement in this release, and also focused on the Power Apps and the Power Automate integration with Business Central in this release. Okay, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope to see you guys again next time.